Satanic ritual, Travis Scott, Kylie Jenner, November the 5th, 10 people dead, fentanyl in somebody's neck, and a whole bunch of people getting trampled. What do these all have in common? Astroworld. I am going to talk about something completely different than what I have ever talked about before. And if you're kind of interested in hearing about a concert or a festival where 10 people just recently died, please stick around and let's get spooky. This is Detroit Alley Cat. Welcome back to my channel. I do have a little bit of a warning, and it's probably not what you think it's going to be. My husband just recently had pneumonia and I have a cold, which means that I'm going to be sniffing and my eyes are going to be watering, and I've got that whole like winter wonderland face swelled up thing going on. And the last time I had this happen, somebody came on here and talked about how annoying it was and blah 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 blah. My eyes shadow was running. I don't know, but if it's gonna bother you, please don't watch. I don't really feel like explaining why I sound the way I do and look the way I do, if that makes any sense. There are actually people out there that are like annoyed by that, which is weird to me. So anyway, this is Detroit Alley Cat, like I was saying, and if you are interested in watching true crime, unboxing, spooky stories, you've come to the right place. Today we're actually going to talk about something that happened on November the 5th called Astroworld. It was really crazy for me to watch because the first thing I noticed is everybody started saying that it was a satanic ritual. And anytime I see something like a satanic ritual and 10 people that have been sacrificed to the devil, I just gotta look into it. I don't really do celebrity gossip. That's not my thing. I think I have done celebrity true crime, but this is gonna be like kind of the first that it really is the celebrity that it involves completely. Today we're going to be talking about Astroworld and Travis Scott. For those of you who do not know who Travis Scott is he's a 30-year-old rapper that was born in Houston, Texas. He was born April 30th, 1991, and his real name, his non-stage name, Jaquez Berman Webster II. So that's actually what his name was that he was born with. His stage name is Travis Scott, which is his favorite uncle combined with the first name of his inspiration. His partner is off again, on again, Kylie Jenner. She is a very famous, I don't even know what to call her. She's part of the Kim Kardashian crew. She has her own makeup brand. She's got a huge Instagram following. She's known by teenagers worldwide. She is dating Travis Scott, and they have a child together. Her daughter, I believe, is 3 years old. Her daughter's name is Stormy, and her sister's name is Kylie Jenner. And what's interesting is the event that we're going to talk about. She actually went to this event with her sister Kylie Jenner and her 3-year-old daughter, which I'm just going to mention right now that I think it's really weird that somebody would take a 3-year-old to a rap concert. I do. I know that like she has her own security because she's famous and she was in the VIP section, but you know, rap concerts are pretty much known for getting a little hype and wild, so it would be like taking my 3-year-old to like an Ozzy concert or a death metal concert. Like I don't understand. But that's just me, and other people raise their kids differently, and you know, I'm not here to say that anybody's parenting is any worse or better than mine. I just think that it's kind of odd. I just do. I worked at a concert hall, and we had a lot of rap concerts there, and I swear it's like they were wild. And I mean, that's that type of music is it's supposed to get your adrenaline pumping, and everybody's like, yeah, roar, and you know, so I don't know if I think it's an appropriate place for a 3-year-old, especially with how loud the music could be. Like, and that's something that I did notice is that when Kylie Jenner came with Stormy, Travis Scott's child. Stormy had like, it looked like bulletproof, you know, like when you go to a shooting range and you have like that ear wear that keeps your ears from getting damaged from how loud the shots are. The little girl had these like ear headphones. They were like these protective wear headphones, and I mean, that's another thing. Like, so if you're gonna bring your child to a concert and you have to have like a protective headphone on their ears, why would you take your kid to the concert? Because they're not listening to the music. They've got their ears protected, which good thing that the ears are protected, but then I don't understand what the point is. But I do think that Kylie Jenner's whole like world is based on like different social media aspects and being seen by the world. So I kind of feel like it was just like a publicity thing bringing her daughter there, especially because she just did a new launch called Kylie Baby, which is a bunch of baby care products. And I feel like Stormy's like I wouldn't say mascot, but like the face of the products because it is her child. But I digress. Let's go back into Travis Scott. He's 30 years old. He was born April 30th, 1991. He is a pretty famous rap artist, and I don't listen to any of his music, but I know that Astroworld and a lot of his concerts are known to have 50,000 plus concert attendees, and that's a pretty large audience. The thing is that he's had multiple records out, but the name of his third record was actually Astroworld. And so he started doing a festival. I think this was at least the second festival, and he started calling it Astroworld. Now, the fact that he called it a festival was kind of strange to me because typically when you have a festival, you have multiple stage areas and it's like a big laid out area, but Astroworld really only had him as the headliner. I know that Drake attended this Astroworld and was featured in it, but Travis Scott was the headliner. He was the focus of the entire festival, so it was really kind of like one artist thing. And it wasn't a multiple day event where you would actually think like festivals, they like have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This was just one day, November 5th. And another thing is that Travis Scott was also known for having like, his past events had like a lot of controversy because a lot of people felt very unsafe. And I was reading about it, and this is something that caught me off guard. So Travis Scott was talking about how he really liked wrestling, and the reason that he gets on his like stage and he tries to rile up everybody in his audience is because the way he described it was that it almost sounded like he was trying to say that he created mosh pits. And for those of you who don't know what a mosh pit is, it's like something that came out in the 1980s, maybe even the 1970s or 60s. I'm not sure exactly when the date is, but it became most famous or most known in the 1980s in the punk scene. And it's like a circle where everybody is like dancing really hard and they're slamming against each other, and it kind of is like, I guess, jumping around and dancing and fighting at the same time. And then you have crowd surfing where people get lifted up and people are like holding them up. And you know, if you go to a certain concert, or at least when I was a teenager or in my 20s, and it's like a very violent like artist, or it's like a controversial artist, you can get hurt. I mean, I've been at plenty of concerts where there was a mosh pit and somebody would get like punched in the face and, you know, you'd see blood everywhere. It was fairly common. Travis Scott was talking about his concerts, and he said he really liked wrestling, and he liked to do something called raging, where he hypes up all of his like audience and they start like jumping around and dancing. And what he basically described was a mosh pit. I think like it's kind of interesting to me that he's describing what we all know is moshing, but he's renaming it as raging, and he's saying that he likes it because of wrestling, which it just sounds like a mosh pit to me. And so I wonder if like He doesn't know what a mosh pit is. He hasn't listened to punk music. He doesn't know what the history of that is. Or is he just arrogant and he wants to rename something that has been in the past music and rename it with his own twist to it? I'm not sure. I can't figure out if Travis Scott is like a nice guy getting caught up in all the craziness, or he's just a jerk. Like, I can't figure it out personally, and I don't have a feeling. What I do know is that, let's talk about this concert, because it's kind of crazy. On November 5th, he had a concert called Astroworld. He said that it was a festival. Like I said, I didn't think it was a festival. But around 2 o'clock, there were multiple Instagram lives showing the gate entrance to this festival. And this is something to note too, is that Travis Scott has told his audiences before to rush gates and try to get in. And that's exactly what happened this day. All of these people started rushing the gates, and basically the security for this grounds, they just backed up and they let all these people through. And so you have all these people and they're just like hitting the gates and they're running through, and no one's getting stopped. When they say that Astroworld had 50,000 people there, they don't know how many people were there, honestly, because all those people that rushed through those gates, those were not counted in how many people. And that's how the day started out. So at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's already setting up the day to be kind of crazy. Now, the venue is really interesting as well, too. Sorry, my phone's beeping. So the venue is really interesting too, because the venue is like it's a grounds, it's outdoors, and they say that their venue can hold up to 500,000 people, which I thought was a bit of an exaggeration. Like, 500,000 people is 500,000. And they said that they sold tickets for 50,000 people. The venue can hold 500,000 people. Why did they only sell 50,000 people tickets? And this is the kind of event where they're not going to hold back on trying to make as much money as they possibly can. And so that's just something that's stood out to me, is that you already have the venue saying that 500,000 people can be there. The next thing I want to talk about is actually the layout of the concert, because that's something else that's like really important and something that I noticed off the bat. The layout of the concert is super important because I feel like it set up what actually happened that day. There was the stage, and then like there's like a catwalk. There's no other way to describe it, but like a long like walkway where Travis Scott can walk out, and then there's another like long crosswalk where there's only VIP tickets. The whole stage setup looks like a gigantic eye. So you got the top of the eye where's the stage, the catwalk where Travis Scott can walk down, and then another area right here where the VIP people are sitting. Now the thing is that where the VIP people are sitting, they get like a front row view of the concert. Nobody is going to want to stand behind the VIP section and watch the concert. And that's another thing that was pretty interesting. The layout was of the venue is you had to like walk down a big area to get into the concert way. So like in order to get out of these two areas, you have to walk around the VIP section. And it's not big and wide where you can walk all the way. Like, it's just not open that way. It's almost like a huge narrow way, and they have it crossed off with this VIP section. Basically what it's doing is setting up the concert so that when everybody is pushing either forward or backward, there's going to be a wall or a section that is going to stop people from like being able to move to get out of the way in case something dangerous happens. And that's exactly what happened, is everybody started like pushing back and forth. But we'll get into that. We'll keep going into it. Around 9 o'clock, Travis like gets on the stage, and immediately everybody says that there was some kind of a countdown. It was like a 30-minute countdown before Travis Scott appeared. And the thing is that a lot of people said that like set up the entire mood, that their hearts started pumping, they started getting really excited to see Travis Scott, and then he appeared. Now, what I did notice is that the appearance of the stage itself, it was actually pretty cool. It had like a lot of like graphics and fire, and it was very like, it looked kind of like hell themed, but that's honestly just because they had so much pyrotechnics going on the stage. And I've seen a lot of concerts with pyrotechnics, but for whatever reason, everyone seems to have this whole theory about Live Nation, which is actually the label that Travis Scott is on, and the Illuminati, and like all the celebrities of Hollywood like being part of this satanic thing. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a secret society in Hollywood, but I do want to talk about Satanism a little bit. The first thing I'd like to mention is that just because Satanism believes a certain way does not mean that there's not an idiot out there who's gonna just do whatever he wants and say it's in the name of Satan. Because there's been plenty of serial killers that have done that. But Satanism is kind of like, they don't actually believe in Satan. Like, real Satanists don't believe in Jesus or God or Satan. They believe in themselves. They believe in taking part of the world and doing whatever they do and doing it for themselves, and not actually holding themselves to a higher power. It's kind of a very strange thing that people don't understand, because everybody thinks that Satanists actually worship Satan, and that's not really like their thing. Their thing is like, we want to like indulge in our own pleasure, and we want to do whatever we want for ourselves. And no matter what you believe or how you feel about them, because I know a lot of my viewers are like, oh, Satanists. It's just, I think that, like, you know, Satanism just is very controversial because it has the word Satan in it, and it's completely misunderstood. I'm not saying that you have to agree with it or not agree with it. It's just not about worshiping Satan. As crazy as that sounds, it just isn't. And so everyone's saying that, like, you know, Travis Scott is Satanist and he did a satanic ritual. Is he part of a secret society? I don't know, maybe. Hollywood's really weird. Politics are really weird. Politicians are really weird. They probably do have some weird secret society. Do I think that this concert was about that or about Satanism? I don't think that the true sense of the words Satanists were involved in this. If Travis Scott did this on purpose in the name of Satan, I don't know. Because, like I said, there are plenty of like really weird, sick people out there that will actually think that Satanism is about worshiping Satan, which I don't even know what you would call that, but it's not classic Satanism, which is just, it's a little complicated, I'll admit it. A lot of people said that this was a satanic ritual and the stage looked like it was Satanism and all this stuff, which I just think that he really wanted an edgy looking like setup, and he really wanted it to be like wild and crazy, and maybe he did want it to look like the gate of hell, because the way he had it is like, it was like a circle, and it almost looked like a hole to another world. And I think that's like the whole theme that he was going with. And I don't know, it's not your typical rapper theme. But then again, I really don't listen to that type of music, and I don't really know what kind of rap artists are getting into. I did see something, I don't know what, it was a music award show, and there was this girl, I guess Chloe and Holly, but Chloe came out as like a one-time rap artist that was breaking away from being in the group with her sister, and she went on stage, and there was like all this like fire and stuff, and everybody was like, oh, she's a Satanist and all this stuff, and which is, it's kind of related to this because she is also signed to Live Entertainment as well. And, you know, they both are on the same record label, and I don't know, maybe it's just like a fad with the fire. I think it's always been a thing. The countdown happens, and then Travis comes on stage, and he's all like, yeah, he's trying to rile people up, and he's going and doing his Travis Scott thing. And I guess immediately the stage started getting rushed by the fans. They all started moving forward. So everybody started getting smushed. And then somehow it ended up going backwards, and everyone started getting smushed this way. And the whole thing was just really crazy because there was a rumor going on that people were getting shot in the neck with fentanyl. And so that's something that was really strange too, because they actually started to track down the people that supposedly got shot in the neck with fentanyl. And one was supposed to be the security guard, and the security guard was tracked down. He said he was never shot with fentanyl. They couldn't really substantiate any of the stories that were coming out about the fentanyl. Why would somebody lie and say that they saw someone get shot in the neck with fentanyl, or they got shot in the neck with fentanyl? Because in this type of event where there's so much hype and there's so much media focus on it, people are going to just want to be noticed. Or, you know, you teenagers, they sometimes get really carried away, and they'll think they saw something that they didn't see, and then they tell their friend, and their friend tells their friend, and their friend tells their friend, and all of a sudden this story has become something completely morphed, something completely out of control. But long story short, nobody could substantiate the fact that somebody had been shot in the neck with fentanyl. Kylie ended up showing up to the concert prior, and she showed up with her sister Kendall and Stormy, and they get walked into the VIP section. And what's kind of crazy, she gets walked into the VIP section, and of course Kylie Jenner does what Kylie Jenner does, is she pulls out her phone and she starts recording the concert. She starts Instagram living, and you can actually see where like this golf cart that's supposed to be a medic ambulance is trying to get through to different people that are getting stampeded in this concert. And she's got this up at her Instagram live, and everybody's getting mad, and they're like, cancel her because, you know, she videotaped this and she could have stopped what was happening and all this stuff. She did videotape it. I don't know what she could have done to stop it, but she had it up on her Instagram, and she didn't even notice that she had it up on her Instagram, which is kind of messed up a little bit. You think she'd at least take it down, which she did eventually take it down, but she had it up there for a second, and the fact that she didn't notice it was kind of strange. And she said she had no idea what was going on. But the fact of the matter is that when when Travis was performing, and when people were pushing to the front and people were pushing to the back, people were trying to get into the VIP section to get away from being trampled on. And they were actually screaming for Kylie to pay attention to them. And so the fact that says that she didn't notice what was going on, I think that's a lie. And eventually, some part of the night, the security noticed that people were trying to rush the VIP section, so they had to escort them out of the VIP section and take them backstage. So they definitely knew something was wrong, because you don't normally get escorted out of a concert as fast as possible to keep you safe. And they were supposedly walked by some people that were in respiratory distress. During this concert, when people were actually pushing forward and backwards, people ended up falling to the ground, and more people started piling on top of those people, and more people started piling on top of those people, and 8 people that day would end up dying. They would actually have different things that happened to them, but most commonly was a heart attack from being trampled on. The next couple days, someone else died that was on life support. Her name was Barty. It was very, very sad. And the last victim that ended up dying was a 9-year-old boy that had been sitting on his father's shoulder. The father got knocked down, and the little boy had been completely trampled. So 10 people in total ended up getting killed at this concert, and 25 people were in the ICU, which is kind of a lot. For some reason, my camera decided to stop recording. I don't know where, but I am just gonna record this ending. If it looks a little weird, I apologize. But I do want to talk about the 10 victims of the event because they should have a lot of the attention put on them. The first victim was John Hilgert. At only 14 years old, he was a ninth grader at Houston Memorial High School. The second victim was 16-year-old Brianna Rodriguez. Beautiful, vibrant junior. Dancing was her passion. That is how she was described. The third victim, Axel Acosta, 21, traveled from Washington State, studied computer science, and died from compressive asphyxiation, also known as trampling. The fourth victim, Danish Beg, 27, died trying to protect his fiancée. The fifth victim, Rudy Pena, 23, also was Rodolfo Angel Pena. The sixth victim, Franco Patino, is 21, a student of University of Dayton studying mechanical engineering. Number 7 was Jacob Jake E. Jurnick, 20 years old. Number 8 was Madison Dubinsky. She was 23 years old, always known as the life of the party and a sweet girl. Number 9 was Barty Sequani. She was 22. She actually ended up dying November 10th. She had multiple heart attacks. The first responders dropped her head during transport. There is video coverage of her mother giving a statement, and you can find it on YouTube. It's very heartbreaking. This woman sounds like she's falling apart. This is before she actually passed away. She talks about Barty never asking for anything. This is the first time she asked for anything, and it's just really, really horrible and tragic. The last victim, Ezra Blunt. He's a 9-year-old little boy that went with his father because they both like Travis Scott. His father was knocked down and the little boy ended up getting trampled. He was taken off of life support November 15th. It was very tragic, very sad. Kylie Jenner actually had a holiday package of makeup products that was due to release yesterday. She has not released any. She hasn't posted on her Instagram. And Travis Scott got hit with a $750 million lawsuit. It's come out that he's really upset about it, but I just want to say that you never know what's real and what's not. Celebrities are kind of an enigma. You get to see what they want you to see, and sometimes all these different people that cover these events or just news about them will lie just to get clicks. So is he mad? I'm sure he's not happy. Do I think that he really is upset about this family's? I think he's probably bummed out. I think his biggest thing that he was worried about was the money, and once he realized that all these deaths were going to affect his whole image and it was going to be a problem, and his publicist or his social media agent was like, look, you have got problems, he was probably extremely upset. And do I think this was a satanic ritual? Absolutely not. I don't. That's just my vibe. I think that this was him being arrogant and not listening to anybody about any of the safety problems and the protocols and what could have happened. And it's a huge tragedy. And my heart goes out to the families because they really just thought their kids were going to a concert to have a good time. And it's so hard as a parent to tell your kids, like, no, you can't go because I have a bad feeling, because then you're the bad guy. But then things like this happen and you don't want your kids to go to the concerts like this. So this is it for me today, guys. I know this is kind of like a different topic. Like I said, I don't really cover celebrities, but it's kind of an important topic because we need to discuss things like this. Do you want to send your kids to events like this when you know tragedies like this can occur? So I believe that a lot of information, and we should definitely have conversations about these things. If you enjoyed hearing about this, please let me know what you think. If you leave a comment like or think about subscribing. I would love if you watched my videos. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and as always, stay safe and stay spooky. Bye.